Hollywood is built on success, but haunted by failure. Of every 10 films made here, 6 will lose money. As the screenwriter William Goldman once said, in Hollywood, nobody knows anything. This film went so far over budget that the studio boss shut it down. This film went on to win Oscars, but its script was in disarray. And a star's late-night encounter nearly wrecked an innocent family comedy.
What happened? What are you talking about?
So why do so many movies fail? It's because films are so expensive to market and distribute. They have to earn 3 times what it costs to make them just to break even. So when something goes wrong in production, the chances of box office success have just gone up in smoke. This is where the problems start.
The mechanics of movie making, it's like going to war and expecting before you go into battle that you'll have no casualties. Well, of course, that's not possible. You have a lot of casualties.
Production takes up to 15 hours a day, 5 days a week, 12 weeks on average. Money is spent at up to $500,000 a day. There are star tantrums to deal with, location nightmares, and sheer bad luck, all of them wrecking the schedule, costing the studio millions and eating away at the only thing that really matters, box office profit. Everyone is nervous.
You're trying to get things done. You've got multiple units going, and you're running out of money. You're running out of time, and the studio's breathing down your neck, and you get real tense.
How do studios get themselves into this situation? It's because of the system called pay or play. The studios hire the best talent in town, but that comes at a price. They have to guarantee to pay them whether the film is made or not. Steven Spielberg's studio, DreamWorks, had been developing a script called Gladiator, a $100 million Roman epic. They had secured pay-or-play deals with the British director Ridley Scott and the demanding Australian star Russell Crowe. But the script still wasn't ready. With the release date set and money hemorrhaging away, DreamWorks had to push ahead.
The picture had started shooting really before it was ready. But what can they do? They've built the sets. They were 20 million down by that point, or some figure like that, in terms of pay-or-play commitments to all the people and the building of the sets. They had to go.
But the continual script rewrites angered the star.
Russell was getting lines at such a late date, or late hour, he had built up a real irritation factor. So, at that moment, when you get that irritated, anything that comes through the door, he's going to get, really pissed off with.
I am at their mercy, with the power only to amuse a mob.
Tempers were rising and the studio was getting nervous.
You've got 2,000 extras. It's a $500,000 day, so that every minute that you're not shooting is costing you money. From the actor's point of view, it's a moment that he has to somehow make sense of. And he can't be doing it because there's 2,000 extras or because, well, the story requires he has to actually find a way to make it work. And so everything is magnified.
The writer responsible for getting the movie green-lit was fired.
I stopped working the week before they started filming. And essentially because Russell Crowe was dissatisfied with the work I had done and made his unhappiness known to all. So I was fired, essentially. I'd never had an actor influence that sort of power so directly or wield it so baldly before, in my experience, which is very limited.
DreamWorks were in trouble. Their cry for help reached English writer Bill Nicholson.
I saw at once that they had a potentially very, very good story here. There was some fantastic stuff in it, and I knew Ridley Scott would do amazing work. But I could see big problems. The key thing that I identified with the script when I received it was that the main character, though exciting, charismatic, was not somebody you cared about. So my pitch was, look, we've got to love this guy. Why would you love a guy who's a soldier who then tries to kill an emperor? I took what was already there in the script, which was that he had a wife and a child who were killed, and said, here is the heart of our story. We make this be a guy who all he really wants is to be with his wife and child. So for a start, you've changed your whole sense of him. And so we have to get him back to his loved ones. How do we do that? There's only one answer, and that's an afterlife. And that is what will make every bloody act he does seem different. Let's know that in dying, he achieves his goal, which is to be reunited with his wife and child.
Nicholson dashed off an email to the film set at Shepperton Studios describing his suggested fix.
It was exactly at this point that we were suddenly having a disastrous day at Shepperton, where Russell was very nervous, Ridley was getting nervous. Hence, when this memo, this incredibly lucid memo occurred, everyone said, Jesus, get this guy right away.
Nicholson was offered a massive fee to drop all his other commitments and salvage Gladiator.
I'm not a rewrite merchant, but I was flattered, because the flattery was, we think you may have put your finger on what this needs. You may be able to rescue this. And that is very, very flattering. I had this vision of myself as a knight on a white horse, coming charging in to the rescue of the damsel in distress. I mean, a rather large, fat damsel, this movie. So I said, okay, and I don't think I had any idea when I said yes to that, what I was letting myself in for.
What Nicholson had let himself in for was an epic struggle in every sense. Meanwhile, over at Fox, the studio chief Bill Mechanic had decided to gamble $75 million on an adaptation of the Marvel comic hero X-Men, a genre which hadn't worked commercially since Batman. He'd entrusted the studio's summer blockbuster to a young director fresh from a commercial flop. X-Men was only 3 weeks into production when the star due to play the lead was forced to drop out. The young director began to feel the pressure.
You know, you go do a big movie like X-Men, if it doesn't work, you go to movie jail for a couple of years. I mean, it's the bigger it is, the harder it falls, especially when it's something like X-Men, where there are millions of fans out there waiting to hate it, waiting for you to ruin their favorite universe. It's a lot of pressure.